morning on Wednesday, February 28th, the final day in February of 2018. It's episode 362 of the 359 podcast. I'm BVG, and your hosts today are Alfred Ng and Ben Fox Rubin.
Fun fact about the 359, our first show ever was on February 29th on a leap day 2 years ago.
Are we going to Pirates of Penzance?
So we can't have an anniversary episode for 4 years.
We can't have it. That's exactly right. So Matthew Datcher, thanks for joining us on your day off.
We promise you this episode will suck.
Right.
Hopefully
at
my
least
way to make today's episode terrible.
Stop. I was going to say, hopefully that shout out would be beneficial, but you guys went in the completely other direction. So whatever. Either way, Matt, thanks as always for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about 5G. There are a ton of announcements around 5G. It apparently is the big thing that a lot of the telcos are talking about at Mobile World Congress, where Roger is right now in Barcelona. We're also going to be talking about the Asus Zenfone 5 and 5Z. It's basically an Apple copycat at a much lower price point. And last, Amazon's big acquisition of Ring, which is a video doorbell company. We'll round out the show with that. As always, send in your questions and comments. BVG will get to as many as he can at the end of the show. Let's get to the podcast.
Here we go, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
The 5G race is on. At Mobile World Congress, Sprint said it's rolling out the next generation of wireless tech for 6 U.S. cities this year and promised a nationwide mobile 5G network next year. Meanwhile, T-Mobile said it's bringing mobile 5G to 30 U.S. cities. Both carriers won't actually let customers buy the services until next year when the first 5G-capable smartphones hit the market. Are you excited?
No, because my phone can't even handle it, and I'm going to have the latest phone to do it, which I'm not going to have unless it drops to cheap enough that I'm probably not everyone else will get 5G and with the latest phones probably in the next, I don't know, 2 years or something like that. For me, I feel like it's a 5-year gap for me unless because that's how long it'll probably take me to get to a phone that's capable of using it.
It will, I think, entirely depend on, the first adopters, what they're actually going to tell their friends and family, whether it is going to be significantly different or significantly better. So the move that I did years ago from 3G to 4G was a significant and notable one. If 5G is much better and the marketing actually holds up, I think that it would propel a lot of people to buy new phones.
That's the thing. 5G is supposed to blow LTE out of the water on this one. It's not a small leap from 3G to LTE and 4G.
That's what we've been hearing for years.
It's a massive leap. This is supposed to be something that can power your home wireless connectivity.
As a replacement to broadband, the idea is that 5G is also going to help enable drones, self-driving cars, all sorts of other technology that need really, really fast speeds. But we'll see as these deployments go out if that is actually going to happen. Next, if you want to get an iPhone 10 but don't have the money, just buy an Asus Zenfone 5Z. It's basically a clone of the new iPhone, complete with the notch on top, but it goes for $590 instead of the base model $1,000 for the iPhone 10. You see that it's even got the camera set up on the back the same way. I mean, it basically looks like an iPhone 10. I don't know.
Yo, this is the dopest thing I've ever seen, man. I love this so much. It's half the price. It's got the full screen and everything. It's also cheaper than what the Galaxy S8 is and the S9.
Hold on. Is it you really think it's dope or you're just cracking jokes?
It's a little bit of both. If I were trying to buy a new phone, I would definitely consider this.
It's actually a high-end phone. They're not selling it for $200. It's got really good specs.
Yeah, for its specs, if you get the 5Z, which is supposed to be the bigger one, their version of 5 Plus, it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 to 256 gigabytes of storage, which is insane. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that has actually piqued my interest. I'm very interested in getting higher end phones for lower end prices, and this definitely I'm actually excited about something. Can you believe it?
I've literally never heard you excited, and it's terrifying. Last, Amazon agreed to buy smart doorbell maker Ring for a reported $1 billion. Amazon also purchased video doorbell company Blink in December. So I guess if you want to get a video doorbell, you have to go through Amazon. This is obviously a continuation of Amazon trying to control the smart home and compete with Google, which has Nest. So
Are they going to combine them to make Bling?
how so?
Didn't they buy Blink?
Bling and Blink. Yes.
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 Yeah, Ring and Blink.
I think Ring is going to be a standalone company. That's at least what a lot of folks have been saying. So they're going to be able to kind of stand on their own. One interesting thing about Ring, by the way, is that they were on Shark Tank a while ago, and they got passed over. Now they sold for apparently $1 billion. If you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
You know what else I saw on the Asus phone?
What?
Starts with an H, ends with an headphone jack.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, it's so great. This is
just like...
And before the trolls get to us, yes, we are still talking about this. I have headphones that I like very much that are not Bluetooth.
I'm super into the headphone jack. I was really annoyed that the Pixel 2 dropped it after the Google Pixel talked it up in like all their presentations. So, yeah, definitely this is the phone to get, not the iPhone 10. And
I mean, yeah, if you don't like, obviously it doesn't have like a camera as great as the iPhone 10. It doesn't have like
iOS.
Face ID and all this stuff. Yeah,
it's also not waterproofed. There are two other things that Andrew
yeah,
Hoyle
but there's
mentioned.
like a lot of things here that I'm just like, if you just want like a big screen and a phone that has like pretty good specs and is cheap, like yeah, if you don't want all these like extra things, like if you don't really care about Animoji, then yeah, here you go. Like.
No wireless charging, no waterproofing too. So they do strip out some of the newer things that you would get on the newest iPhone. But I would probably argue that a lot of people wouldn't really miss wireless charging. Like the wireless charging pad stuff doesn't come with the phone. So, you know, my Galaxy S8, I think, has wireless charging capabilities, but I don't want to spend the money to get a wireless charging pad. You just plug it in.
Yeah,
I'll
like,
save the $30.
Yeah, I'm continuously scrolling through this article. I'm like, this phone looks pretty cool. Like, I feel like I would actually get it.
I'm like super confused by your enthusiasm. This is like I'm enthusiastic about everything. This is literally the first time.
It's a high-end phone that I don't have to pay a lot of money for. That really is.
To put it into better context, it's still $600. I mean, like that's not a little bit of money, but obviously, especially with
it's like
with
much
Apple,
less compared to everything else.
Totally. Relative it is now.
In relative terms, I totally agree with you. But $600, there's a good reason why people are holding onto their phones longer than 2 years now. And in the fourth quarter of last year, for the first time ever, smartphone shipments had actually gone down. So people are definitely holding onto their phones longer. And you know, maybe 5G is going to be the reason that people upgrade for sure. It looks like you got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, we got great feedback coming in through the chat today. Let's start right off with a commentary from Matthew Datcher. He said he was thinking about buying a ring, not like a ring.
Well,
sorry.
if you like it, then
put a ring on it.
Oh
on it.
God.
That made me think about if there's anybody out there, if Amazon's acquisition of this company would deter or further encourage you to move forward with getting a smart doorbell, or if you're completely indifferent to it. I just wonder if that has an overall effect on your concept. If Amazon is the greater evil or greater good, and
that's a good way of looking at it. I think with Ring and Blink, they both already had Alexa integrations. That's not to say that everybody flipped the switch and started using those Alexa integrations, but if there was already Amazon involved there, so it's possible that people would be detracted from getting a Ring because of this, but I don't really see that to be the case for most consumers.
Fair enough. It was just an interesting thought that kind of like popped into my brain.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting. I because of all the conversation that people are having about are these giant tech companies becoming way too big. It's definitely, I think, something that's worth discussing for sure.
How does this affect Amazon's like smart lock? Does
they
it does at all?
They don't make a smart lock. So Amazon Key is a service where they provide a security camera, and then they partner with smart door lock makers like August. Wait, I think August isn't one of them, but the company that makes August is part of that. So you can buy, I think, from 3 different smart locks to set up Amazon Key.
So
they still don't have their own.
Does the Ring acquisition affect that in any way? Like being able to tell when a Amazon delivery person under Amazon Key is at your door or something like that?
It's possible that would be the security camera that they have now. The cloud cam goes inside your door, so it might be an interesting additional step where you would then have the video doorbell outside your door. So it's just even more video to have of the delivery person. So you've got inside and outside the door.
We're going to get to a really interesting relationship with all your delivery people. It's the great Amazon home invasion. How long until Amazon just buddies up with IKEA and does like their own easy construction house that you can buy?
IKEA already has, like, they bought TaskRabbit to I assume, like, make your stuff.
To help you
when
make
buy.
furniture. Yeah. The thing is that Amazon Key is still pretty new, and I don't know anybody personally that actually uses it. And the response from the public about the idea of having a delivery person be able to open your door, even with all the steps that Amazon created to ensure security, I haven't really seen it taking off, and people are like diving all over themselves to get it. So even with them buying Blink and Ring, I think the best way to look at it as is Amazon wants to have more hardware and control more hardware related to the smart home, as opposed to being able to like have Amazon Key be this big thing that everybody uses.
Got it. Shout out to our boy Josh Boyda. Good to have you with us today, as always. He's asking, does Ring have Google Assistant integration? And if it does, do you think Amazon's going to phase that out?
That's a good question. I'm going to try to look that up really quickly. I don't know.
It doesn't have it, but Nest does, which is basically the Google equivalent of Ring.
Right. And the other thing that's interesting to pay attention to here is that Nest used to be kind of a separate subsidiary of Alphabet, and then Nest most recently this year, like Rich Nieva, our Google reporter, wrote about this a couple of weeks ago. Nest was brought into Google to more tightly integrate the Nest stuff with Google Assistant. So I would say keep an eye out for this race, because it's continually heating up, and Google is really trying to make a run for the smart home, just like Amazon is. And that's why Amazon bought Ring. Like they need to keep up with these guys.
Am I just like a grump? Because I don't see why anyone would need like a smart doorbell. Like, I get a smart lock and like a security camera stuff, but like, first of all, no one needs a doorbell. Like that's silly. Everyone has phones. Just call somebody when you're at their door.
Your generation is killing doorbells.
Now hold on a second. Millennials kill doorbells. Now hold on a second though. This is going to actually stem into another great question in the chat. But I live in the underground apartment in my complex, and it is concrete. It's pure concrete. I'm in the foundation. I got bagel for signal down there. So I need a working buzzer, and appreciate
that's a
people because
case.
I get a lot of pamphlets coming through.
Do people just like stamp down to like let you know when they're at your door then, or
they send up a flare?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
So
it's like smoke seeps in through you.
Yeah.
I remember when I was visiting family in Israel back in the 90s, they had video doorbells then. We would kind of like have an apartment that we were set up in.
It was like a crappy closed circuit TV though, and
it was something like that. But like that, it
had to be wired.
Yeah,
well, wait,
it was back then. It was to me it seemed useful just to like get that additional like layer of security to see who was there, who you were buzzing into the apartment building. So I do see a value to it. It's not going to be for everybody though.
Yeah, even if you had like no reception though, I'm like sure like you have internet connection and they can still like send you something on like Facebook Messenger or something.
Yeah,
because that's what the smart doorbell would also rely on.
Stop
an
trying to
internet
kill
connection.
doorbells.
Okay, so how does a pizza guy get a hold of me? I'm not friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah, just don't order pizza.
So looking at it from Amazon's perspective, and you are going to have to shell out quite a few $100s for this, but let's say you have the Echo Show, which is an Echo that also has a touchscreen, and you have the Echo Show in your kitchen. You've got a bigger house, so you've got this video doorbell on the outside. Somebody rings your doorbell, bingo. You go and you ask Alexa to go see, like, hey, show me who's at the front door, and you have that immediacy. I think that's what they're trying to solve. Again, I don't really see that as something that everybody needs.
Yeah,
but
no, there's good arguments on both sides of this, but there's plenty of special cases where this would be very helpful. And it's just, I was going to say interesting that Amazon's getting into it. No, it's not. That was a no-brainer. That was an absolute no-brainer.
No, it's totally interesting. I mean, like the reported figure is not confirmed. Like they didn't even send out a press release about this. But if it was in fact $1 billion acquisition, that's one of their biggest acquisitions ever.
Well, and Andrew's headline said it all because of course they did.
Right. Exactly. Oh no, that was Rye Chris.
Right, Chris. Sorry, Rye.
Analysis,
Sorry.
his hot
It's okay.
take on it.
I'm pretty sure he watches the podcast religiously.
Of course he does. Huey Yegg, with Amazon's purchase of Ring, do you think this will prompt any response from Alphabet? Going back full circle here, will they ante up in the smart home tech race?
Absolutely. I mean, like this is just going to continue to heat up in 2018. We saw it at CES where Google made a big splash there. They do not want Amazon to run away with smart home and voice assistant.
Yeah, if anything, they've been the ones amping it up to begin with. Like when they brought
because
back
they were
Nest
behind in the race.
Yeah, when they brought back Nest to be like a part of Google as opposed to its own company.
Yeah.
And then like I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago when they added a Google Assistant like feature to the Nest Cam IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Like the camera itself was its own Google Assistant. Like it wasn't like, oh, go talk to this thing. Like you could say, okay, Google to the camera itself.
Right. I two things about the Amazon Google race is that it could benefit customers in that it will speed innovation because both of these companies are going to try to compete and win customers a little bit faster as they're fighting each other on the smart home. The other problem is that they've already kind of been in a pissing match between each other. So it's possible that Google and Amazon go and start, doing crappy things to each other to try to outsmart each other. Like, Amazon had gotten rid of Chromecasts on Amazon.com for a long time and just recently brought them back.
Yeah. I'm laughing in the chat right now because Alex Mitchell says Pizza Guy uses the app to notify you. The same app you ordered from. You're a monster if you call it in. I'm sorry, man. Donatello is in Astoria. Don't use the internet. I don't think they have the internet. I think they still use a rotary phone.
Yeah, no, we use Grubhub.
Yeah, there's like a pizza app specifically for New York City. Like
Slice.
Local,
yeah, I used it last weekend. It sucked.
Oh, I've always had a great experience.
I never got my pizza, and I want to blame it on the store, not the app. Just for the record, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but the store I called it into never delivered. So I was kind of like, I just walked down the street to the grubby old hole in the wall, got a greasy slice, and I was happy.
Yeah. I don't like giving out my credit card number over the phone anymore. It's gotten stolen one too many times. So
they
definitely
just have
using...
you on speakerphone when you call.
Everybody knows the best pizza joint is that old Italian place that only takes cash.
Right.
Just putting that out there.
We don't have that in my neighborhood, but that's what's useful about those apps.
I think I'm just severely anti-doorbell. I have a doorbell now, but like growing up, I've never had one.
I mean, I'm anti-people interacting with them in general. So I don't know.
There was an apartment that I lived in once that didn't have a doorbell. So this was before I had a cell phone.
The best days of your life.
This is before I had a cell phone too. And so for my friends to get my attention to come open the door, they'd either yell outside my window or throw rocks at it. And one time, this dude he cracked my window, and I got in so much trouble over it.
Oh, jeez.
Should have just held a boombox over his head. Everybody knows that's the best way to get somebody's attention.
For love. Let's talk 5G real quick before we wrap it up for the day. Josh Boyda, will 5G be better at getting through buildings? William Jenkins, wonder if the new Samsung S9 will have 5G in it.
No.
And Datcher, all the way full circle, when will IoT devices like Ring and Smart Lock start to build in 5G?
Very good questions. I don't know the answer to the first one.
Yeah,
is it going to be better through buildings?
Who do we think's going to embrace this
back
first?
to that. We can circle back to that with Roger because Roger is very much like our 5G expert. He's going to be coming back from MWC, and we will do a download with him about everything that he saw at the show.
I can answer the IoT thing though. So I had written a story from MWC about ARM, the processor stuff. So
the chip maker.
Yeah. So they have a new. They're looking to put basically SIM cards into your IoT devices, so they all have their own network instead of siphoning off your Wi-Fi or anything like that. So they're saying that this is really going to ship out around 2020-ish or 2021 or so. I don't know if it'll be 5G, but they'll definitely have their own connections.
If it's going to be 2020, 2021, that is definitely when 5G is expected to get broader deployment.
But I don't know if these
US.
Chips have 5G capabilities.
Yeah, I'm sure with a company like ARM, I'm sure they're looking into it. So going back to the other question, as far as who's ahead, They're all trying to race each other to try to say like, oh, we're going into 6 cities, we're going into 30 cities. So we mentioned on the show Sprint and T-Mobile. They're both starting to do deployments this year. They're actually going to be available to customers next year. I'm going to circle back to Verizon. Verizon is expected to launch its commercial service in at least one market, Sacramento, California, later this year. And AT&T promised it's going to have these little pucks, wireless hotspots, by the end of the year too.
I'm really annoyed at all the marketing campaigns that they usually do with this, where it's essentially like, we're bringing it to these cool cities, blah blah blah, like New York, Dallas, whatever, and
L.A.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, cool. So like all the cities in between, like they just don't matter, right? They don't get this really high speed internet like ever.
Well, remember Google Fiber was starting to roll out to the smaller cities first as test, and then that kind of fell through the cracks.
Look, I mean, as long as they bring it to New York, I kind of don't care.
Such a jerk.
Okay, me first, Ben.
Me first.
We are almost
Left Coast elite.
Yeah.
We are almost out of time. Let's help Carlos out. Carlos is a regular listener and he's blind. He wants to hear more about this Asus phone as the iPhone X competitor. Can we bring up some of the performance stats for him? And just kind of run down that.
It's running on a Snapdragon 845 processor, which is going to be the same processor that the Galaxy S9 uses, but that's only for the 5Z. The Zenfone 5 itself is running on a Snapdragon 636, which is not as high-end as that one. It actually might be... I'm not sure how it compares to the Galaxy S8. I think the S8 was using 839.
Right. The 800 level are the best ones from Snapdragon. The 600 are more of the mid-tier.
Yeah. So the lower tier one is also running on 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. I personally think that's enough for like what you're planning on doing. If you really want the high end, the 5Z is using 8 gigs of RAM. This is just off like listing the like specs though. Like I think it's always different when you have it in your hand and like you're actually testing it. And I have not been able to use this.
So also to correct one quick thing that Alfred said earlier, I think the 5Z is not the Plus version. They both have 6.2-inch displays. The difference is the processor, as you mentioned. One has an 800 tier and the other has a 600 tier.
How does that not make it a Plus version?
It's not, because the
Like
Plus
the
version
size,
is usually a bigger
size-wise.
display.
Oh, is that what Plus usually indicates?
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah,
was
yeah.
literally like the size was kind of a byproduct of it being
Maybe I
heavy-duty.
misunderstood.
Well, whatever. They are similar in appearance, but
Very
better,
similar.
different under the hood.
Yeah. So hopefully that answered your question, and thanks as always for listening.
Yeah. And on that note, we are out of time. I got nothing else to say to close out today. It was a fun episode.
Thanks,
Hope this
everybody,
podcast
for,
sucked, Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Whoa. Do not cyberbully the Dutch. Not cool. Dutch, you are always appreciated by Ben Fox Rubin.
Hope you hated this show.
As is everybody who joins us.
That is absolutely right. Okay, the 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Later, everybody.
Bye.